What's up? Week 2 boom or bust. How's it going, fellas?
Good, man.
What's up, guys?
Got
Nice little competitive Thursday night football game.
I think
Got me
everyone was
ready
looking
to-
forward to that game, and it didn't look like it was gonna score a lot of points there for a while. It was like, are we gonna get us a dud? And then it picked up some action there in that second half. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
It ended up being a pretty decent game. All right, guys,
Absolutely.
let's see. Let me pull up the chat. Looks like we already got some people in here. They were waiting for us. We got Albert. We got Fabian. What's up? Juju sold me. All right. I love it. Let's see. We got some people joining us over on IG2. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. We're going to talk some boom bust. And you can join us over on YouTube if you like for the full show, or the Fantasy Football Network website or mobile app. Alrighty, guys. What do you say we just kind of jump right into it and get to some booms and busts?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's pull up the board, and we're gonna start with some quarterbacks as usual. And Kyle, how about you go first?
Alrighty, let's go with our boom QB, Mr. Stafford. I always like to start off on a positive foot. I don't know why. But,
Okay.
I mean, the dude's a stud. They're playing Atlanta. I think he bounces back this week in a big way. And, they're playing at home as well. So I really think he bounces back in a big way this week.
Awesome. Yeah, I like it. Last week was really rough. He just had someone in his face on every pass. It seemed like that was a tough game, but I agree.
You'll see Stafford with a vengeance this week, I think.
We can only hope so. I need Allen Robinson to perform for me.
Yeah.
Tony, what do you got? Give me your boom or your bust. What quarterback you got?
Yeah, I'll follow Kyle's lead. And as a guy I talked a little bit about last week, I said this guy tends to be a little bit underrated, especially when it comes to fantasy. He can be a little bit up and down, but I'm going with Mr. Carson Wentz. He was definitely a hot waiver wire pickup this week for anyone who was hurting at quarterback, especially for maybe those who lost their Mr. Dak Prescott for the next 6 to 8 weeks. Had a solid showing last week. I think he finished as the QB1 or QB2 behind Mahomes. And I love the weapons that they've surrounded this guy with Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas coming back from that knee injury, Antonio Gibson. I'm going to look for him to kind of keep it going this week against that Detroit Lion defense. And if you've got him, if you're a 2-quarterback league, he's definitely kind of a high-end QB2 with upside. I like him a lot this week in this game. It's a good spot for him.
Yeah, I was really impressed with their offensive performance last week. So I agree. This week is looking pretty good for him. Scott, that leaves us your bust QB. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, Mr. Jameis Winston, which is a little funny because last week he was my boom QB against Atlanta. And, he did okay. He didn't exactly boom, I wouldn't say. He did okay. But I think he'll struggle a little bit more against this Tampa Bay defense. So definitely, if he's your guy right now covering for Dak, I'd go try to maybe pick up a Carson Wentz instead.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. And Carson Wentz is most likely available out there. Just a guess. Unless you're in a super flex, of course. Alrighty, Tony, I guess that leaves you Justin Fields.
It does leave me with Justin Fields, and he is going to be my bust for the week. I know a lot of guys are buying the hype on Justin Fields. I play in an auction league, 2-quarterback auction league, and this was a guy that a bunch of people liked that thought they were going to get him undervalued. And we just have not seen him produce in fantasy. Struggled big time last week. Now I know that that the weather was just horrendous last week in that rain at Candlestick or out in San Francisco. But I don't think this is going to be a get right game for Justin Fields going up against the Packers. and you saw what happened to them in that Minnesota Vikings game. They've got some pride on that team. They're going to come out, and I think they keep Justin Fields in check. I'm not feeling it this week for Justin Fields. Don't think he's going to get on track.
Corey, you don't have audio.
Oh, I was that guy. I muted it for my cough and then forgot to unmute it. Man,
The
What I was
picture's so
saying-
tiny. At first, I couldn't tell if you were talking or not, and I was like,
No, I was just saying I don't have much to disagree with you guys on tonight. I seem to be hitting the nail on the head. Justin Fields, just not much of a believer. So I agree with you, Tony, on that. Cool. So flew through those. How about we go to RBs? Tony, I'm going to let you go first on running backs. Who you got?
Yeah, let's do what Kyle did. Let's stick with the booms. And I've got a guy on here that you probably might not expect to see on a boom list, but I'm really liking Nyheim Hines. I like him in this matchup. This is could be a little bit of a push matchup for the Colts in that jump out to a bit of a lead on this Jacksonville defense. I know Frank Reich wants to get Nyheim Hines involved more in the passing game. And we saw what happened last week against that Jacksonville defense with that short passing game, which is kind of right in Nyheim Hines' wheelhouse. I like him this week. I think we're going to see him utilized quite a bit in that passing game. I wouldn't be surprised to see him, somewhere easily in that 6 to 10 reception range, and 50 to 75 yards and a possibility of a touchdown. So I am liking him this week in my boom column.
I just want to throw out there too, there is the chance that Pittman misses the game as well, which I think would even boost him even higher. So I love
100%.
that.
I think that's what Albert says too. I agree with Tony, especially if Pittman is out. So
100%.
Yep. And that would be really sad. But I think we've learned that Nyheim Hines is more than just a handcuff. He actually has a role in this offense. And so I like that. Kyle,
No, he does it. And again, going back to that game script last week with Gibson and McKissick and Samuel, just with that short check down passes that seemed to have been the weakness last week. I mean, I think the Commanders noticed a soft spot in that Jacksonville defense. So I look for Hines to exploit that.
Yes. I like it. All right, Kyle, who's your running back? Boom or bust? Which one?
I'm going to flip it over and hit you with a bust.
All right.
Rashad Penny. He got all of the carries last week and didn't do great against Denver.
None.
That San Francisco run defense in San Francisco, is going to be even tougher. And I think Walker's looking like he might come back, even if he's limited. So losing any amount of touches is bad news for Penny. So I'm staying away from Penny this week for sure.
Yeah, I've heard that Kenneth Walker could be back this week, and I was like, eek. There goes Penny's any value he had. But like I said, last week he didn't produce very well. So what a letdown. But all right, Tony, we'll bring it back to you, man.
Yeah, there's a guy that wasn't expecting to put on my bust column going into week 2 of the season, but Mr. Ezekiel Elliott is going to be my bust running back for the week. It's one thing that Zeke is without his starting quarterback, but they're also without their starting left guard, without their starting left tackle. He's going up against the Cincinnati defense, which, they stuffed Najee Harris last week. And I do not like Zeke in this spot. I think he's going to continue to struggle until they get this offense straightened out. So he's going to be riding pine for me this week.
Unfortunately, as a Cowboys fan, I have to agree with you. And I did bench him in the one league I have him in, and I am sad about it. But
it's very sad.
But, what's got to be done has got to be done to win.
Yep.
All right. Kyle, that gives us your boom.
Yeah, man. Give me some Kareem Hunt this week. Last week was not a fluke. They run the ball a ton. They give him a ton of touches, just like Chubb. And they have the best matchup in the league this week against the Jets.
Speaking of
So
Chubbs,
I'm all over Kareem Hunt this week for sure.
yeah, he had a huge week last week. Those 2 TDs. Is that something you could see him upholding though? Is getting a touchdown every week, or not every week, but getting touchdowns pretty often?
Yeah, I mean, you can't always count on touchdowns, but in this offense, if he stays healthy, he'll get to double-digit touchdowns on the year. I would say fairly easily.
Yeah, I mean, he was using the red. What did it surprise you if he was using the red zone as much as he was?
They've always used him in the red zone pretty frequently.
Yeah,
I mean, they've never just stuck to Chubb when they're both healthy in the red zone. I think it just depends on the game situation and what they decide to call. I mean, they trust both of these guys to get the job done. So, there's no reason him and Chubb couldn't both, end up in double-digit touchdowns by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head that this coach utilizes these running backs in such a strategic, smart way. They don't have like a set role, like, oh, you are the red zone running back, kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that's why that 2-headed monster is so efficient as compared to some others. Going back to Zeke, him and Tony Pollard could coexist more.
Yeah.
But I never thought I would say someone need to be more like the Browns in any sort of way. But maybe that's something teams could look at and kind of figure out what they're doing with their 2 good running backs, since most teams have 2 good running backs now on their roster. So
that's a really funny point, actually.
Never
want to be like the Browns, except when you use your running backs.
My goodness. Alrighty. Dang, we're already at halftime here. So let's see. Let's blow this up really quick, or just move us out of the way so that people can see that board. There's your booms and busts, quarterbacks and running backs so far. Cool. You guys wanna take a little Q&A real quick?
Yeah, we got a few over here.
Sure.
Oh, cool. We got Albert saying Mike Williams to the moon. I'm saying at least this week.
Till Keenan Allen comes back, and then we'll see what happens.
Now, I don't even think that's the determining factor. I think it's just whichever week he decides to do well in. I don't think it matters.
Hopefully that O-line won't continue to struggle protecting Justin Herbert. He was getting hit a lot tonight.
A lot.
I don't want to be the "I told you so" guy, but one guy that I did mention last week looked fantastic tonight, and that's Gerald Everett. He looks like he's going to be a main cog in that offense. And if you punted on tight end and were able to grab him on waivers or late in your draft, I think you're going to be okay at the tight end position.
Yeah, dude. The dude plays amazing. He just needs more balls, more targets, more.
I 100% agree. Target. I drafted him, or I had him in 2 leagues already. This weekend, I picked him up on 2 more waiver wires, maybe 3 more waiver wires. People still overlooking him. Barely had to spend any fab to get the guy. People are just not paying attention, I guess. I don't know. I started him in like 3 leagues tonight. So.
And then you got teams that are still starting Hunter Henrys and guys like that, and it's like, what are you doing?
I trust Gerald Everett more than I trust like T.J. Hawkinson at this point, or Tyler Higbee. Just saying.
Well, Higbee's not hard. He's never had a major role in that offense.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying. Guero over here on Instagram asks, Mooney and London are available. Which one should I grab?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm going with Mooney. Barely. Barely.
Honestly, damn, that's tough. Because I like London's upside a lot. So, I mean, in his first outing, not too shabby for a rookie.
I'm going with experience over rookie. Is kind of the tiebreaker for me there.
Both have crappy quarterback situations. Tony, what are you thinking?
I think if I'm looking for upside on the season, even though we haven't gotten to my bust receiver for the week, who is Darnell Mooney, I probably would uh, I probably grab him. I think I would agree with Kyle.
Yeah. It depends on what the rest of your team looks like. I'm just kidding. Well, he's dropping Pickens to get him. So, yeah, probably Mooney. Mooney's your safer bet. So I'd probably go with Mooney there, too. So this guy said, thoughts on Eckler? Personally, not too mad. Just a TD away from amazing performance. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's been 2 somewhat disappointing weeks. Luckily, he just racked up a ton of catches there in garbage time. Got racked up quite a few points in garbage time tonight. So made it a little bit less disappointing of a night. But when you're getting Eckler in the top 3 picks in your draft, you just expect more. And that offense as a whole, to me, just hasn't looked super smooth yet. So hopefully that picks up. But yeah, he needs to get in the end zone is what he needs.
And not everybody's going to score every week either. So
no, he needs to score every week. I've got him on too many teams for him not to score every week.
That's the thing about touchdowns. They're very fickle.
They are.
You can ask Kyle Pitts about it.
Ugh. You can ask him about anything there. Okay.
He scored 1 touchdown last year, and it was in England, for God's sake.
Right. Couldn't even do it on our soil. Come on, man. Just got offered Tyreek Hill, Montgomery, Henderson for Sutton, Fournette, Melvin Gordon. Let me move this out of the way. Bad or good? What do you guys think?
Tyreek Hill, Montgomery, Henderson for Sutton, Fournette, and Gordon. I mean, Hill and Fournette are probably very, very comparable in value. So I'm looking at it as Montgomery and Henderson for Sutton. I mean, do you? I probably would prefer to have the Fournette Sutton side. It's hard to find an elite running back who's getting elite utilization like Fournette does. It take an awful lot to pry that guy out of my hands. And Sutton, I mean, he's got tremendous upside on the season.
100%.
So, I don't want to swap out Fournette for Henderson and Montgomery. Montgomery could lose a starting gig to Khalil Herbert, and the Rams want to pass the football. So Henderson's going to be really good in spots. I do like him, especially if he continues to get this type of utilization. But he's still not a Lenny Fournette.
Right. I agree. 100%. Yep. I'd rather have Sutton Fournette.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Should I get Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, and Henderson or Montgomery? Wait, he wants Kamara, Fournette, Sutton, Melvin Gordon.
Kamara or Fournette, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't move off those running backs.
No, I'd stick tight.
Yeah, you got a pretty good advantage on that. And Sutton, like Tony mentioned, Sutton's got such good upside on the season that I'd have a hard time moving off of that for a Keenan Allen or even Tyreek Hill. That's not the old Tyreek Hill we're talking about.
Well, because for me, Sutton's is gonna have an easier time scoring closer to Hill and Allen than Montgomery and Henderson are gonna have scoring like Kamara or Fournette. So you got to look at that trade-off, and for me, it's not worth it. I'd rather sit on those running backs I got.
Right.
100%.
Yeah,
it's easier to find value at the wide receiver position. You cannot replace a Kamara and a Fournette.
I agree. And so does Albert. But it's like when I'm looking at Tyreek Hill, right? Again, like I just said, it's not the old Tyreek Hill in Kansas City who's just blowing it up every week. Honestly, Tyreek Hill, Waddle, which one do I actually want on that team? I don't mind having Waddle instead of Tyreek Hill even, and especially at their values. So it's Tyreek Hill's got a lot of value based off of just name alone, and that's kind of dangerous to get sucked into because Sutton could perform just as good or better on the season as a whole as Tyreek Hill now on Miami.
Yeah, I agree.
Should I start Hines over Thielen on flex spot? I also got Burkhead and Melvin Gordon.
I forgot who Thielen plays. Oh, Philly. Yeah.
I
think
like
would.
Hines an awful lot this week. I've already talked about him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was
think
wondering if Tony
Thielen
was
does-
going to move off of that, but
I think Thielen does better than he did last week, but I think Hines has the most upside this week. With even if Pittman plays, he could be limited. I'm liking Hines right now this week.
yep. All right, here's one. Do you guys think Henderson outscores CEH this week? What did CEH end up with?
He had a decent stat line on the night.
It was
Yeah.
like 15.
He
or
broke that
16.
one run there in the late in the fourth quarter that
Yep.
kind of padded his stats a little bit. But
But I mean, he had touchdown, right? Receiving touchdown. Is that right? Did he? Am I wrong? I'm trying to remember.
And now I need to go look. I don't think so.
Oh, I thought he. No, I'm silly. I was thinking last week. Sorry, I'm an idiot.
Let's see. 8 carries, 74 yards, 4 receptions for 44 yards. So almost 16 points in a full PPR.
And that's not that's not how CEH has performed in any season in the NFL. 2 games in a row where he's been startable. Like, what the heck? They discovered CEH, and it's really annoying because I didn't draft him that way.
I think the Rojo and the Pacheco hype fired him up a little bit.
No, I think
Everybody's like, they think these guys are going to take my spot, and I think he's playing. And, he's playing really good until he gets hurt. But I don't think Henderson outscores him this week.
no, he's gotten so much more opportunity this year. It's not even like the fact that he's doing better when he gets the ball. It's that he's even getting the ball. He's getting to catch these passes and stuff. They haven't utilized him in years past, it feels like, and it's been super frustrating.
Well, they did. I mean, he was just really efficient with his touches tonight. He only had 12 touches.
That's true. They were efficient. Yeah, I agree. Tony, I feel like you've wanted to say something, and I don't ever shut up, so you're going to have to just interrupt me. Sorry.
no, you're fine. I mean, I think I definitely disagree with you guys on this, though. We talked about Henderson last night in Wall Street. I mean, here's a guy who, out of week 1, got elite utilization at the running back position. I mean, it wasn't even close in the touches between him and Akers. Henderson for now is going to control that backfield. He's going to be involved in the passing game. He is getting the carries. I think the upside for him is fairly significant, and the opportunity is going to be there for him again this week. Akers is not replacing Henderson in week 2. It's just not going to happen. This guy is getting elite utilization. What's that?
At least we don't think so.
But did anyone see Henderson replacing Akers last week? I mean, and just taking over that entire game. I mean, I think we saw a split coming, but I don't think we saw a total takeover by Henderson. So at this point, I don't even know what to think of what that coaching staff is going to do.
Henderson had 18 touches. Akers had 3. That's not going to flip this week. I think the mistake we made was overvaluing Akers.
Yes.
And at the same time, undervaluing or devaluing Henderson.
That's been made since last year.
The fantasy football community as a whole wants to buy into Akers. It's exciting. But I talked about this last night in Wall Street. If you look at what he's done since he's come back from the injury, let's kind of even forget about week 1. Let's go back to last season. He has not looked the same. So I think Henderson, again, my point simply is I think Henderson is going to outtouch Akers by a wide margin again this week. 5 catches. He had 13 carries. He had 18 touches overall. And I don't think that's going to change this week. Until I see it, I'm riding Henderson, and I think he's going to outscore CEH.
I was laughing last year. So Akers, he was an absolute stud before he tore his Achilles. And as soon as he did, he dropped in every ranking you saw. Season long, dynasty, everything. He comes back last year for 1 game, and all of a sudden he's at like number 12 in your dynasty ranks and all of this stuff.
He's back, baby.
He didn't do anything the rest of the year. And still, this offseason, he was in like the top 15 of every running back rank you saw. And it was just like, I don't know, it never felt right to move him back up there based on everything we'd seen. So I thought that was pretty funny. The whole offseason, I thought that was funny. But I didn't see a complete switch to Darrell Henderson coming. So that was also shocking.
That was pretty funny. Ooh, I like this one by Fabian.
And Darrell Henderson produced last year when he had the opportunity.
Yep.
He was an RB1 last year.
Absolutely. Very true. Tony, I'm going to let you take this, I think. Should I have started Dylan over Juju?
That's funny.
Yes.
What do you think, Fabian? Dylan, unless you have better options, Dylan has kind of played himself almost into being a must start.
Yeah. I love Dylan, yeah.
Okay, so we got one from Rob from State of Mind over here. Kyle, are we buying or selling CEH rest of season?
Rest of season? I mean, the way he's looked these first 2 weeks, if you need a running back, I'd go get him. He is more involved than he has been, but I mean, he looks good.
He looks really good, and I did nothing but avoid him in every draft, and now he's coming out looking good. It's
like I wouldn't go crazy paying a crazy amount for him, which is honestly after these 2 weeks, what you're probably going to have to do because people bounce that running back value around everywhere based on, recency bias. But
yep.
If you can get him for a reasonable price and you need a running back, sure.
Yeah. What's funny is I was going through a lot of people's rosters today and stuff, shopping for some trades, and I saw CEH still on people's benches. Like even after last week's performance, everyone's like, "Nah." I drafted him because I needed a running back at the time, not because I believed in him.
He's got a lot of work to do building up trust back with fantasy owners for sure. But
for sure, Rob said he's their second best player outside of Kelsey and dependable. That matters for Andy and Mahomes. I mean, that's kind of what he's showing right now. But it's kind of he's finally playing that role I think everyone expected when he got drafted. Tony, what do you think in CEH on the rest of the season?
I love CEH coming into the season. I haven't seen anything to kind of change me on that opinion. Remember, this kid, he coming out of college was an elite receiver out of the backfield. And that's really kind of was his reputation. That's what he's known for. And this is the type of game offense that Andy Reid has now built. And so I think we're going to continue to see him heavily involved in this offense. I think his role is going to continue to increase. He is handling the majority of the rushing attempts. He is kind of starting to capture those targets out of the backfield. Jerick McKinnon, a little bit of a threat, but I love him on the season. He's just got to stay healthy. That's been his only issue, is staying healthy. But we can say that for a number of players. There are a bunch of backs right now we could talk about who've got to stay healthy.
I would say almost all of them. Jeez. It's the majority of them. They just get beat up all the time,
Even receivers are struggling to stay healthy right now, though.
Absolutely. Alrighty, let's snag a couple more here and then get back to our boom bust. Thoughts on Najee? Would you play him over Jeff Wilson this week, full PPR?
If Najee plays, I'm playing him over Jeff Wilson. Unless they hint that he might be limited. I think he got a full practice in today, though. So, I mean, yeah, if he's practicing in full and he's active, I'd start him over Jeff Wilson pretty easily.
What do you think, Tony?
It's hard to bench Najee.
It is.
I don't know if I'm quite at that point. That being said, I do have concerns. I get the question. It's coming off the foot injury. They got the Liz Frank. Now he's got another injury on top of that. Jeff Wilson is going to take over this backfield. Mike Shanahan wants to run the football. I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Jeff Wilson this week. My other concern about Najee is that offensive line in Pittsburgh. That whole offense just did not look good week one. I just don't know that I'm ready to bail on him just yet. That's kind of it is definitely a good question. You wouldn't think it is. It's a good question at first sight, but I'm going to keep a close eye on Najee and see what his practice looks like today and tomorrow and going into the weekend. I would be tempted to play Wilson over him, but I don't know that I'm quite ready to take that step yet.
Oh, I'd have a hard time doing that. I mean, it's one of those. It's like when a basketball player takes a crazy shot and the coach is like, no, 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 no. But if it goes in, he's like, okay, good shot, you know. And if he missed it, he's like, told you that was a bad shot, you know. Kind of one of those things. Like you can look really smart if it works out for you, but you can look really dumb if it doesn't.
Who would have thought at the beginning of the season that would be a valid question going into week 2?
Ridiculous.
Right. I mean, and part of it has to do with the fact that it's, for me at least, like it's hard to bench Najee, but I've seen Jeff Wilson start in smash spots before and not do anything.
True.
So it's also a bit of distrust on that part as well.
That's true. All right. What's this next one here? Oh, hold on. Maybe it's this one. I thought Juju was going to have a good game, get me at least 10 points. Yeah, I agree. I thought he was going to have a better week than he did. Goes for a few players on the field tonight that didn't do so good. Alvin Kamara or Dylan this week? Dillion.
Assuming Kamara's healthy, I think you still have to go Kamara there, but I think he's still been limited in practices and stuff. So keep an eye on that injury report. Oh, we lost Tony's audio.
Yeah.
He's been dealing with a rib injury.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that's right. Rib injury.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same. I keep a close eye on that. But if he's healthy and he's a go, as much as I love Dylan, I'm not ready to play him over Kamara. Kamara's upside is just so high.
Yeah.
He has such a high ceiling. So I'm still riding Kamara.
Perfect. Alrighty. This says, would you trade Hurts for McCaffrey? Depends on what your quarterback situation, but yes. Doesn't really depend on your quarterback situation that much, right? I
was gonna say we could list you a whole lot of QBs on waivers that you can get to.
You got to think there's a lot to that. I mean, if it's super flex or blah blah blah, there could be a lot that goes into that. But
in a vacuum, yes, in a heartbeat.
Oh, it has Josh Allen already too. Yeah, ship Hurts off, man. See ya. Bye.
Yeah.
Josh Allen. You don't even need Hurts.
He don't need us for that decision. Are you kidding me?
He said, I would think it's a no-brainer, but I'd like to hear what you guys would say. Hell yeah.
We would say it's a no-brainer also.
Absolutely. Here's another one. Should I trade Eckler for Mixon?
I wouldn't.
I like Eckler too much. Start Curtis Samuel or Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to say
Jerry Jeudy.
He was a good bright spot on that offense. Let's see. Who should I play in my flex? Curtis Samuel or Melvin Gordon?
I like Samuel. I think I starting him over Gordon in that flex spot.
I don't think that was a fluke game for Curtis Samuel.
No, they seem to be manufacturing him touches. Like, I like Curtis Samuel there too.
Give me old Kurt. All right.
What's interesting in that game, real quick, Curtis Samuel dominated the targets. He had a 26% target share in that game.
Yeah.
Terry McLaurin had 8% and Dotson 13%. So
if you look at the numbers, you'd think Curtis Samuel was the wide receiver 1 in that offense.
I mean, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a volume guy at the receiver position, and he certainly was that last week. We can't guarantee it's going to be again this week, but I definitely like that volume, and he's a guy. Gordon, I wouldn't trust Gordon. Javante's coming on. I mean, that guy looked great Monday night, and I kind of take the sure thing target wise with Samuel over him.
Agree. All right, guy. Whistle is blowing. Halftime is over. Let's get back to some boom busts really quick, and then once we're done with those, we'll get back to Q&A.
So we
Where
have
we
to
at?
cut it off somewhere because we're
Yep,
like, let's do one or
exactly. It'll
two
never
more, and then,
stop. It'll never
and then
stop.
more come in. So we
then
have
we
to
gotta-
finish. And
We
then
got to
we'll-
go now. So let's go to wide receivers. Tony went first last time, I believe. So Kyle, start us off with wide receivers.
Well, since Judy was just mentioned, I'll hit my boom, who is Jerry Judy.
Perfect.
Had a really good game last week against Seattle. They're playing Houston this week, who Pittman blew up last week, and I think Judy keeps rolling. Wilson seems to have a really good connection with him, and I think it just keeps right on rolling.
Yeah, those two looked really good together. I agree. And that secondary is prime for being tore up by Jerry Judy. All right, Tony, who you got?
So I've got Mr. Allen Robinson. He was definitely a disappointment week 1. One thing, just real quick on that offense. I know that Kyle has Stafford in his boom list at quarterback, but Allen Robinson historically does not play as effectively against that zone defense, and that's what Buffalo runs. They run the zone defense, and it's an elite defensive squad at that. However, he thrives in the press coverage, man coverage, which is exactly what he's going to come against this week. I think this is a get-right game for Matthew Stafford. I also think it's a get-right game for Allen Robinson. One thing I don't want to get overlooked in last week's game is this guy still ran 96% route participation. So meaning that 96% of the time Stafford dropped back to throw a pass, Allen Robinson was running routes. That's an elite percentage. And I think he's going to get back involved in that offense this week. I think we're going to see him get on track. The targets are going to be there. Falcons just got annihilated by the Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry combination. I think each of them scored almost 20 PPR points last week. I'm going to expect the same thing this week from Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson. I like him an awful lot this week as a boom receiver.
Oh, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Because he hurt me last week big time. So, but overall in the season, I think he's going to do fine. And I agree with you. I think he's going to thrive this week and a bounce back.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, I guess that leaves us with your bustaroo.
Yeah, man. Deontay Johnson. Last week they're playing Cincy. It's kind of a neutral matchup. 7 catches, 55 yards. New England's a much tougher matchup. And I don't think Trubisky has a very easy time getting the ball out to him this week.
Gross. That's just
That
kind of
whole
exactly.
offense is pretty tough. It's pretty rough right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of what we all expected on the season. We've talked about that before. Just that wide receiving core may have talent, but it's just going to be rough going. So, woo. We'll see. We'll see if it improves or not. Speaking of talent but rough going, Tony, it leaves you with Darnell Mooney.
Right, we just talked about him. Look, I like the kid. My DFS twin son calls him Darnell Double O Money. So he loves this guy, and we talk. I talk about him an awful lot. This is not going to be a week to start this guy against that Green Bay defense. Historically, he's not done well in Green Bay. I don't expect him to do well this week. I think that offense is continue to have struggle until they find their footing and able to get things on track. So for me, Darnell Mooney is going to be a bust this week.
Can't say that I disagree, which is sad because, in the offseason, I was thinking like, oh, Mooney's be great this year, and then we get into the season and all of a sudden I'm just like, I might have been wrong. I don't know about this, how this Mooney thing's gonna go.
You made a terrible mistake.
And we're just 1 week in, but I don't know, I'm already starting to second guess myself. So granted, I don't know, I'm throwing last week away for them just because of the weather, but he gets one more week of grace, and then I'll make my decision on Mooney for the rest of the season, I guess.
He'll flop again this week, and then he'll score double digits the rest of the year if you get rid of him.
I think he would thrive if he was still the number 2 wide receiver. I think that's where Justin Fields likes to go, is number 2.
He Fields likes to go number 2, huh? I like
He
that.
takes a giant
I
jump
like
right on the field every time he walks out there.
I like the rationale there.
Oh, alrighty. Tony, kick us off with the tight ends.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off with my tight end. Let's do the tight end bust.
Alrighty.
And that for me this week is Mr. Tyler Higbee. He had a decent outing last week. Pulled in 11 targets, only went 5 for 39. This guy's kind of a little bit of a boomer bust type tight end going back through last year. And I think this is the game where we see Stafford, we see, of course, Mr. Cooper Kupp, and we see Allen Robinson get heavily involved. So I think when that happens, Tyler Higbee maybe takes a little bit more of a back seat. And if you've got him and you're thinking he's going to kind of repeat that stat line from last week, I think again and really think about keeping him on my bench. Looking for better options this week than Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, I think that'll be pretty easy to find. Just throwing that out there. In fact, if you had listened and picked up Gerald Everett, am I right?
The same thing. Could have had Gerald Everett and started him tonight.
Oh, we've got your back, Tony. We've got your back. All right, Kyle. Which tight end you going with here?
I'm gonna hit you with my boom, Mr. Dalton Schultz. A full game of Cooper Rush. The run game's not going to be able to do much of anything. I think he's going to be dumping it off to Dalton a whole lot. And so I think Dalton has a pretty good game this week.
Yeah, I think of all the players on the Cowboys, he's probably the least impacted on that offense.
And since he's a good tight end matchup for him too, I mean, it's not just volume, it's also not a bad matchup for him. So that combination, he's the only one, he's the only Cowboy that I would like to start this week.
Yeah, would they finish, since he finished 24th or 27th or something against tight ends last year? Not great. They didn't do great. Yeah. And so it is a good matchup for him. And again, I think he's going to suffer the least amount because, like you said, there's going to be dump offs and things like that. So I do like Dalton Schultz too. But if you don't have him, you could always start Gerald Everett. He's always a good starting option. I'm going to run that one dry. Okay.
We're going to be like week 17, Gerald Everett. God dang it. He's not on waivers anywhere anymore.
Gerald Everett. All right, Tony, hit us with it.
It's so funny. If I would have started with my boom, I swore Dalton Schultz was my boom guy. So you kind of swiped him from me, Kyle. I agree with you. I love Dalton Schultz on the week. So I'm doubling down on Dalton. But my boom tight end for the week is Mr. Logan Thomas, which is, it's hard to believe because Darren Waller's on the board, and I'm going to kind of debate that with you a little bit as your bust. But let me take my time here to talk about Mr. Logan Thomas. This guy looked great. He had a very decent stat line. He had 6 targets, 3 catches, 45 yards. He looked good in this offense, and he only played 60% of the snaps. I think we see his snap share increase this week. And I think we're going to see a good game from him. Again, Wentz has plenty of targets, but he loves these types of tight ends. And I think we're going to see him more involved in the passing game this week. Love me some Logan Thomas as my boom tight end for week 2.
I didn't expect that with him coming back like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
but we'll see how long he stays healthy, but use him while you can. That's for dang sure. Dude's got talent and a decent quarterback throwing to him. So utilize it. And there's wide receivers spreading the field, which makes it even more dangerous. It means his matchups are good. It's just
this is the best offense Washington's had in a long time, just all around.
Yeah, I agree. They got more weapons than they've ever had. So I love it. All right, Kyle, let's get to your controversial bust.
Hey, Tony can argue all he wants, but
Yeah, it's
gonna-
only
I'm gonna-
controversial because
gonna-
of bias.
I'm gonna preface this one though, where typically I pick busts that I just don't want to start. This particular one is not one that you can't start. I just would temper my expectations because he's playing against Arizona, who is not a good matchup for tight ends going all the way through back last year. I think it's going to be more of a game. Of course, Devontae Adams owns this offense now. I think Hunter Renfrow bounces back and has a good week this week. I don't see Waller having a big stat line this week. I really don't. Now, obviously, it's near impossible to bench him but I would temper my expectations. I definitely don't expect him to have a big week. I mean, he played the Chargers last week, which is on paper anyways a great matchup for tight ends, and he only had 4 catches for 79 yards. So on 6 targets, I don't think he does better than that this week.
Tony, let's hear.
Yeah. Well, let me preface what I'm about to say in that I'm a Raiders fan. First and foremost, I'm a
There it
huge
is.
Darren Waller guy, so this kind of hits me a little bit in
Oh, he's taking it personal. He's taking
It
it
hits
personal.
but yeah,
I hit him
but
right in the bias with that one. Just right in the bias.
let me take you a little to task just a little bit, Kyle, on just on a couple things you said. Arizona, not a good matchup for tight ends. Remind me what Travis Kelce did against them last week. Travis Kelce went 8 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown. So as of today, week 2 in the 2022 season, the Arizona Cardinals are the best matchup for tight ends in the NFL. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. Darren Waller is still going to command that target share. He's a freak guy. He's a mismatch nightmare for any defense. This is not just a run-of-the-mill tight end. He still is an elite guy. He got paid in the offseason. He's going to go out and earn his. I expect him to have a big role in that game this weekend, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes as the number 1 tight end or in the top 3 tight ends for week 2.
And the dude can rap.
Got you right in the bias. Dang, man, I hit you hard in that bias.
Hey, Tony, you got a little something there on the left side of your face. I think it's a little bias. Yeah, there it
Could
is.
be,
All right.
could be. Did I say anything that's not factual?
That he finishes in top 3 tight ends this week.
Okay, that might not be that's opinion.
Yeah.
But my take.
It's really all I had.
Kelce just went off on that Arizona defense. So
Yeah, but he also has Patrick Mahomes, and it's Travis Kelce, who is better than Darren Waller.
okay. They also have Devontae Adams.
He also
that
doesn't have
middle of the field for
Devontae
Waller.
Adams or even a Hunter Renfrow, I would say. So he's kind of forced to throw it to Kelce.
All right, we'll see. Let's see what happens this weekend.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't do last year, we should be doing this year is we've got to keep a chalkboard of these these debates, and so we can start to keep score a little bit. Because I'm pretty sure I'm undefeated.
I had the one bust of the week last week that did not go well, and I lost the rest of the season based on that one. So you're probably right.
Oh my god! All righty, guys, let's get to your super smashes and super crashes. It doesn't have to be either or. This can be from any position that you want. Your super smash and super crash. Let's start with our super smashes. Kyle, give me your super smash of the week.
This one's hilarious because Tony has Fields and Mooney in his bus, but I'm throwing Kmet in the boom, my super smash. Well, what's funny about this, about fantasy, is your QB can completely shit the bed, and one of your receivers can still have a good game. And he's going to have to throw it somewhere, and I don't think it's going to be Mooney. I think it's going to be Kmet because Green Bay is a good matchup for tight ends. But I also think they try to get that connection going after last week's debacle. It's kind of a commit with a vengeance, kind of like we're doing with Stafford. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I think Komet goes ham this week.
Come on, commit. Come on, commit. All right, Tony, who's your Super Smash?
You know, it's going to surprise everyone in this podcast following my very strong take on Darren Waller to learn that my Super Smash player for the week is going to be Mr. Derek Carr. I just absolutely, I'm going.
What?
I know it's a surprise, and I'm going out on a limb this week for this guy because I'm not a great fan of the Raiders or Derek Carr. No, of course I'm kidding. Love Derek Carr. I love the matchup. I love this game. It's a bit of a bounce back for the Raiders and Arizona. I mean, Mahomes took them to task last week. 360 yards, 5 touchdowns. I expect Carr to pick up where Patrick Mahomes left off last week, and I've got him in a smash game in this matchup.
From one Hall of Famer to another, right? Just playing against the Cardinals.
All righty, Tony. With that being said, give us your Super Crash. And no,
yeah, well, this one kills me.
Do what?
I said, no, you can't pick Kyle as your Super Crash.
My Super Crash for the week is Kyle. Can I do that?
You just said you can't.
So for those who have been kind of following our podcast and paying attention, I'm a Raiders fan and I'm a Bucks fan. Absolutely love Tom Brady, and it pains me to do it, kills me to put him this week as my Super Crash. But this is going to be a really, really tough spot for Brady. He does not do well with the Saints, and they're really hurting. Their entire receiving core is banged up. Julio Jones now is banged up. Godwin is banged up. Mike Evans is dealing with an injury. Russell Gage looks like he might be coming back this week, and I'm just not sure who he's going to throw the ball to. So I've got him as my Super Crash for week 2.
Maybe they can just call Gronk out of retirement. Come on, Gronk. Right? It's time to come back, man. Now's your time to shine.
We just need you for one game, and then everybody else will be healthy again. I swear to God.
Oh, please. Alrighty. Hard to argue with that. Kyle.
The one good thing coming out of Tampa is it seems that this hammy injury to Lenny is not significant, and he looks like he's going to be a full go on Sunday.
Yeah. Kyle, who's your Super Crash?
Dawson Knox. I kind of followed a theme as far as tight ends on my supers, I guess. But, last week against the Rams, the Bills are throwing all over the damn place, and he had 1 catch for 5 yards on 2 targets. Well, guess what? Tennessee is not a good matchup for tight ends, so it's not going to get better. I'm definitely not starting Dawson Knox, and now I get to be the one to say I told you so, because
I was going to say I don't get to say that very often.
We were calling it down year for Dawson Knox all off season.
Yep.
As well as Hunter Henry, who isn't on the list this week, but Hunter Henry didn't do well either. So those two, I'm hanging my hat on those two this year.
Yep. Flash in the pan.
Yep. 2 calls I finally got right. I'm going to keep reminding everybody.
It's only been 1 week, but I'm calling it. We got it right because of
they're down for the count. Throw in the towel.
All right, so that's it for our booms and busts. Let's pull that over really quick so you guys can see all the booms and busts now that we're completed with that. And then,
Well, they can't see all of the booms and busts if we're not visible.
that's true. Missing a few busts on the list, but there's all of those. All right, and then back to some Q&A. How about it? Let's give the people what they want. Here's where we left off. Will Trey Lance show up? He is my QB1. What do we think?
I don't think he's there yet this week. I think he'll be better than last week, but he's not a QB1 just yet.
He better be better than last week. Holy crap. What do you think, Tony? I know you love Trey Lance.
Yeah. I've got him. I've got stock in Lance too. So the one saving grace for Trey Lance is those rushing yards. And so when you got a quarterback like him who runs the football, it immediately bumps your floor. So I think you're going to be okay. I just think we have to kind of really temper our expectations for him, and we're going to continue to see him struggle a bit.
He's got that Cam Akers hype surrounding him.
What's that?
He's got that Cam Akers hype surrounding him. He's just got hype. Actually,
yeah, look, the one good thing is, we're going to find out this week for sure because he's going up against Seattle. Rush just torched them for 340 yards.
Yep.
So let's see what Trey Lance can do.
I take that back. It's not Cam Akers hype. It's ETN hype. That's more comparable, I would say.
Dude, James Robinson just screwed everything up in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Who should I start? Edmonds, Samuel, or Robinson?
Yeah, that's a good.
Is that Deebo Samuel or did he mean Curtis?
That's a good question. I was
because if it's Deebo Samuel, duh.
Yeah, I was expecting or I was guessing it was Deebo Samuel. It's the first one that came to mind because Curtis Samuel hasn't been around in my fantasy mind long enough for my mind to go there. But you might be right. That might actually be Curtis Samuel because he's just putting last names. Deebo Samuel. I'm an idiot. I quit.
Is it Deebo?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Curtis Samuel. It's Curtis Samuel.
Oh
yeah.
So Edmonds, Curtis Samuel, or Allen Robinson. I'm guessing. There's a couple of Robinsons there too. So.
Yeah, give me Allen Robinson.
Oh, is that Allen Robinson? It's funny because I'm thinking J-Rob.
Yeah.
Listen. There are too many people in the NFL with the same last names to only use those last names to try to identify them with us.
Yeah,
I was thinking. I'm thinking J-Rob.
Would you start Smith or Johnson this week?
Right.
What?
It's James Robinson. It is James Robinson. Oh my gosh. Okay, my bad. So we were all thinking something different, and we'll get there eventually. There's some names you can get away with that, like Garoppolo, Prescott, Carr, but not Samuel and Robinson. Okay.
Then still give me Robinson.
James Robinson.
Yeah.
Tony, what do you think?
I like James Robinson. I mean, you typically, when you're looking at running backs, it's safer usually to go with the home guy who's playing at home, who's going to get the touches. I think James Robinson is that guy. And as much as I like Samuel, I'd go with J-Rob.
Yep, I would too. Curtis Samuel or Allen Robinson in PPR?
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson for me. Yep. Tony.
Here's the thing with Allen Robinson. I know he disappointed week 1, but his ceiling is so high in that offense.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Let's see. And Odell Beckham started off slow in that too and got the hang of it, and everything looked fine afterwards. So
and Allen Robinson's better than Odell Beckham. I don't care what anybody says.
You can't panic after 1 week, people. 1 week, don't panic. All right. Who do you like better for your backup to running back Najee Harris? Melvin Gordon, Rex Burkhead, PPR league, or Najee Harris? Wait, what? Oh, Najee Harris is backup, which I can't remember his name either, so I don't blame you for.
Jaylen Warren.
That's right, Warren.
I remember Jalen. I couldn't remember his last name.
Who do you like better?
Embarrassing.
or your backup to running back Najee Harris. Okay. So Melvin
Jalen
Gordon,
Warren.
Burkhead,
Jalen Warren, and it's not even close to me.
more than Melvin
Yeah.
Gordon.
Definitely more than Melvin Gordon. I almost like Rex Burkhead, I think, over Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon's value is going to be if anything should happen to Javonte. God forbid, because I've got tons of shares in him this year. But Najee, look, the guy is dealing with some injuries right now. He's now both, injured to both of his feet. He's a running back. Those are tough injuries to bounce back from, especially that Liz Frank. And if he goes down, I don't care who you've got, Melvin Gordon or Rex Burkhead, your season is tanked. It's over. So you've got to cuff him with Jalen Warren. You've got to protect yourself. You need that insurance guy on your bench. God forbid something does happen to Najee or they shut him down for a period of the season. You've got his backup.
Agreed. But if you got space to get Jalen Warren and one of those other guys, if they're sitting on waivers or something, then I would maybe try to get some depth.
Yeah. Just another quick thing too, Ricky. If you're talking about a running back that you drafted late in the draft, 6th round, 7th round, it's a different conversation. But Najee, I'm sure, was your 1st round draft pick.
Yeah.
You've got to have insurance for that guy. You cannot afford. I mean, you already heard the expression, you don't win drafts in the 1st round, you lose them. And you lose them by getting a guy who does not produce. And Najee goes down, you're not going to find anybody to replace that production unless you've got his replacement.
I've always been a big proponent of handcuffing.
Those early running backs like that, handcuff.
Exactly, especially those early running backs.
Yep.
The early running backs that have backups that would be workhorses if they had to take over.
Yep.
1000%.
There's a lot of there are quite a few teams where if the workhorse goes down, now you got 3 guys that are going to be covering different parts of their role. But
or Chuba Hubbard, who's worthless, something like that.
If you've got a 1-for-1, you got to cuff them.
Yeah, like a Madison to Dalvin Cook, things like that.
Right.
Would you guys start Allen Robinson or Gabe Davis if Pittman is out?
Oh,
I think I have to go Gabe Davis. They're playing Tennessee. That's a toughie.
that is a tough one.
Flip a coin.
I think they play Monday night though, right? Give me Gabe Davis on Monday night.
I'm all over Gabe Davis. I just put Allen Robinson on my boom list, but Gabe Davis with Josh Allen, he's got to be in your roster.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously, if you're ranking receivers, he's got to be in your top 12, top 15. On that offense with Josh Allen, you cannot sit that guy.
With the chemistry that they appear to have, also
cannot sit him.
Wild.
Yeah, I will say me and Corey, our family league is an 8-teamer, and we have roster limits, and everybody's rosters is stacked pretty much. But I did bench Gabe Davis this week for Mike Williams, although there is a chance Gabe Davis works his way back in if Pittman misses. So,
okay, so
let me throw this stat out there for you real quick. In week 1, Stephon Diggs he had 79% route participation. Again, meaning he ran 79% of the routes on passing plays. Gabe Davis ran 100%. 100%. This guy is going to be heavily involved in this passing offense. I don't think you can bench him.
I don't think so.
I mean, the target share is going to come up, and I'm not going to say that he's a wide receiver 1, but I definitely put him in that wide receiver 2 category right now.
Very, very easily. Okay, so this next one's not a new question, but he had already clarified Ali Boscott. So sorry we didn't scroll down there to see that.
Right the first time, so we can see it in order.
Yeah. Still shame on you.
That helps.
Let's see. Should I trade Waddle and AJ Dillon for Chase and Pierce?
Nah, I keep Waddle and Dillon.
I don't want any part of Pierce.
Yep.
Chase is tempting, though. I will say that.
Chase is tempting, but yeah, I'd still rather hang on to Waddle and Dillon.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'd like to know, like, I'd be curious to know what is happening at your running back position if you drop Dillon. Like, I wonder what your starting lineup looks like without him.
Like if he's almost just a throw in, so it'd actually be more for like a
Yeah,
Waddle
like
Chase.
if he grabbed them late in the draft and he's already got 2 starters and he's got somebody else for his for his flex, so he's basically upgrading a starting receiver position from Waddle to Chase.
That's true. In a vacuum, no, but situationally, I could see that being a good deal too. So, yeah, you're right, Tony. Robert Woods or Chris Olave?
Sorry, I almost lost it.
I'm guessing that's for this week.
I would expect so. Olave
against Tampa.
Yeah. If Jameis can get rid of it quickly and that O-line can keep Tampa's front off of him, then Tampa's secondary isn't great. But, Tennessee they don't throw the ball all that much at all. And then they obviously want Treylon Burks to be the guy there still. So
they might be throwing the ball a lot this week trying to keep up with that Buffalo Bills team.
Well, they can try, but we saw that worked out for Stafford, and they're a much better passing team.
Yeah, I would risk Woods there. Unfortunately, I'd go with Chris Olave, who didn't have a bad first week.
No, he
didn't. And I don't see Jarvis Landry eating like that every week either. So that production's probably going to fall off to someone else. So I don't mind Chris Olave there. Definitely more than Robert Woods.
Yeah.
For me. Tony, you got anything else to add to that? No.
Not really.
We're pretty much geniuses and you don't have anything else to add.
You're talking
to expand on my thoughts to give you time to finish looking up whatever you were focused on over there. But then we covered it, so it was like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Do I trade Eckler and J-Rob for Dalvin Cook? No way. Yeah, he says Chargers running back room is cringe. I was kind of thinking that too. Like, keep Eckler in more, but honestly, most running back rooms are going like this right now, right? Where they're just rotating running backs a lot. And so, but Eckler's one of those guys where he just gets, I knew they were going to be down there at the end of the game, and I knew he was just about to rack up a ton of points, and that's exactly what happened. He racked up 6-7 easy points in the final 3 minutes of the game. It was fantastic fantasy-wise. It was just pass. It's like, okay, that's a point every time he catches the ball. So there's such upside there with his catching ability that, yeah, I'm taking Eckler. And J-Rob. Like, that's just too much for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, that's a whole lot.
Yeah. I'll let Tony take this one. This is right up his alley. Should I trade Gerald Everett and Jeff Wilson for Kyle Pitts, 12-man PPR?
I would do that.
Absolutely.
I would do that.
I had to wait because you already said Tony, so I had to wait until he said it. But I was just like,
yeah.
Jeff
Wilson's Jeff Wilson. That running back situation is going to turn into a nightmare this year. And as much as I like Gerald Everett, he's not Kyle Pitts.
Exactly. Though I did start Gerald Everett over Kyle Pitts this week in my 12-man PPR. I'm sorry that Kyle Pitts got me 2 points last week.
What is you doing, baby?
I'm mad at Kyle Pitts. I put baby in a corner. That's what I did.
You grounded him?
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. For a defense, would you go Pitt or Colts? Colts are playing Jacksonville. Pittsburgh's playing New England.
I'd probably
go Colts.
Yeah, I'd go Colts.
I've got the Colts in the starting lineup this week.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have him in a starting lineup this week as well. So, yeah, Jacksonville more than New England for me. Traded Darnell Mooney for Gabe Davis 1 minute before the Niners game. Did I win on the sell high?
I think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want Gabe Davis more than I want Darnell Mooney.
Yep. Agreed.
I like that. I say sell high at the time Darnell Mooney was ranked higher in ADP. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but and look, deluxe. What is this? Deluxe what? Krang?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What is Krang?
I don't know.
All right, listen, DCP. I'll call him DCP. When in doubt between receivers, all you have to do is look at the quarterback. You always want the receiver with the better quarterback. You know, we've talked about this a lot last year. And Gabe Davis, I know he's the number 2 guy, but I just told you 100% route participation, arguably the best quarterback in the league. It's a no-brainer.
I'm done with DCP. Yeah, you know me. All right. That's the best I got. All right. Trade Devontae and Eckler for Jefferson and Mixon.
Wow, that's a big trade.
That's a
That's a
huge
really big trade.
Wow.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Holy
ouch.
cow.
What's that?
Holy cow. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Is there a way to get Jefferson and Eckler on your team?
Okay. God, that's tough. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a pretty strong opinion on that. I mean, I would do it.
I like
think,
Jefferson
and,
so much.
and I'll give you my rationale, because first off, you walk away with the best player in the trade. You know, Justin Jefferson is going to be a monster this season, and if you can get him on your roster, you've got to get him on your roster, even if it costs you Devontae Adams. And I don't know that Eckler is a downgrade to Mixon. You know, Mixon, and I know they went to OT last week, but 27 carries, 7 catches. He had a very, very solid stat line last week. I think you upgrade. I think you upgrade at receiver and potentially upgrade our running back.
I don't know what else to add to that. I mean, Jefferson could.
You got to do that
probably
just
the
for
best.
Jefferson, though.
I mean, he's probably the best fantasy player. Arguably should have been taken number 1 overall in drafts, like arguably. Fantastic. So I would take that trade. Plus I like Joe Mixon. Well, I like Eckler too, but yeah. But if our Raiders lover is saying you should trade Adams in that deal, then I'm taking his word for it.
Tell me how many, and again, I know we went to OT. Again, we got to go back and look how many touches he had in OT. But how many running backs in the NFL today have the potential to touch the football 34 times?
Ugh, hardly any.
I mean, that's beyond elite utilization. So,
but I mean, even if you take 7 of those away for overtime or something,
still
then
elite.
you're still
So
looking at high 20s. My God, yeah.
And he's going to get plenty of scoring opportunities in that offense. I couldn't hit the accept button fast enough.
Yep. Here's one: Alberto or Njoku.
Alberto.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go back to the better quarterback.
There you go.
Except I'm going to challenge that thought on this question that Corey's popping up now.
Yep.
Because AJ Brown or Mike Evans, I actually prefer AJ Brown, and he doesn't have the better quarterback.
I agree with that. I want
that
AJ
again.
Brown.
We just got done saying for 2 different questions, always go with the receiver with the better quarterback. Well, Mike Evans has the better quarterback here, but I still prefer AJ Brown for the season.
Well, okay, so maybe let's.
I'm just saying there are exceptions to the rule.
Let's nuance it a little bit more than that. That's definitely something you have to take into consideration. But when you're talking about players like AJ Brown and Mike Evans, they're totally different guys. Mike Evans is not a volume receiver like AJ Brown. AJ Brown is the type of guy that can break any catch 5-yard out for a touchdown. He is the beyond a shadow of a doubt, the stud alpha male number 1 receiver on that offense. Mike Evans very much throughout his history has been kind of a boomer bust type receiver. more of kind of like that deep threat. So, I'm all over AJ Brown in this offense with his volume.
Yeah.
AJ Brown, 1,000%.
Speaking of AJ Brown, all aboard.
AJB made it in. Hey, we're almost done. We're basically done here now, but I'm glad you made it in. And since you're here, I have a note here from last week's episode. Me and Tony gonna Snokey. Can you explain what the hell a Snokey is?
Yeah, we gotta know what a Snokey is.
Because we couldn't find it anywhere on the internet. And we were so confused because you typed it, we ended, and then we're like, now we can't ask you what the hell that means. I literally wrote it on my notepad to ask you about when I saw you again.
We Urban Dictionary that and still couldn't figure out what Snokey was. So it's either a typo or something else about the Smoky. Yeah, you're gonna Smoky. You said Snokey.
Yeah, you said Snokey, and I was like, that sounds like a little bit seductive.
I know. I was like that. I don't know.
No. Oh, he's asking Smokey. No, Snokey. SN as in Nancy. OKEY is how
you misspelled it.
Yeah, you said.
If Smokey, which is what he typed there, is what he misspelled, he messed up several letters. So that seems like more than a typo. But
Snokey. SNOKEY. So
yeah,
just throwing that out there. That was confusing. A little sexy. I'm not really sure.
He says, I forget I smoky too much. No, it was just funny. We thought it was funny because then we couldn't ask you until we saw you again because the stream was over.
So true. Should I? Okay. Here's one here from Luscious. Or is it Lucius? I don't know. I'll go Luscious. Appreciate all the insight, guys. Last one for me. Thoughts on Breece Hall? My question about Mike Evans and AJ Brown was someone asking me trade involving them. Oh, okay. So thoughts on Breece Hall. Tony, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think people kind of bought into the Breece Hall hype train a little bit too much coming into the season because the New York Jet coaching staff came out a week or two before the season started and basically said Michael Carter is the heart and soul of this offense. And you saw that in week one. Definitely significantly outtouched Breece. Not only did he outtouch them running the football, he also outtouched them in the receptions. If you're asking me about Breece as kind of where I would value him, it's certainly not as an RB1, which is what I think people were hoping they were going to be getting in Breece Hall. I think kind of Breece Hall for me is more of maybe a low end RB3, high-end flex. Carter for me is more of a higher end 3, lower end 2 right now based on the type of volume that we've seen in that week 1. Of course, that could change, but Breece Hall, his value is going to be significantly held back all season with Michael Carter because he doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
Yeah,
I think people thought Breece Hall was going to come in and just take over the backfield and Michael Carter was going to go away. And be maybe a third down back, and that is not the case.
They definitely hinder each other's value regardless of the split. But I agree with you completely. Like you can't. It might even up a little bit more down the line during the season, but yeah, for right now, like he's a flex at best.
It could move one direction or another. I agree with what you're saying. Maybe Breece does get more involved, and you see more of a split in his favor. But even if it's a 60-40 split, Breece Hall is not going to be an RB1.
No.
Agreed.
Not even close.
Yep.
I saw many guys I know punted on running back, targeting Breece Hall later, thinking he was going to be their RB1.
Yep.
Not going to happen.
Not at all. Should I panic on Eckler?
No.
Nope.
Don't panic on Eckler, Big D.
Yep. I traded Joe Mixon for Eckler. Now I feel like crap. Nah,
I wouldn't worry about it.
You're good.
Let's see. I'm panicked on Eckler. Breece is an RB4 in fantasy, right?
Yeah, he's a low end 3, high end flex. RB4 is fine. You want to call him an RB4? That's probably where he belongs.
Yeah, and don't panic on Eckler. Like I said tonight, like he racked up like 7 PPR points in the last 2-3 minutes of the game, and that's just something you're probably going to get most games from him. So he'll hit the end zone sometime soon. It'll be fine. That offense will hit its groove at some point as well. They're just not performing. I feel like they should be. Yeah.
Let me just say this real quick. Who was it that posted that about Eckler?
There's a lot of people commenting on Eckler, but
Big D was the one that posted the original question.
Let me give you some reassurance. Eckler, he's a top 4 running back. He's a top 4 running. It's week 2 in the season. Do not panic on him. His talent hasn't gone anywhere. He's going to continue to get his opportunities. He's a top 4 fantasy running back. You cannot, you just don't abandon him.
Yep.
Agreed.
All right, last question here.
Oh, is it? Why?
Well, because the rest is all just conversation on what we were talking about, and we need to
All
wrap.
right. Should I play
Hollywood.
Thomas or Hollywood Brown?
Hollywood.
That's going to be another shootout game for Vegas and Arizona there.
Just real quick, did I know somebody posted, where is it at? Somebody posted that question. I thought they were going to circle back and Dillon and was AJ Dillon and Waddle for Chase.
We did that one. You were zoned in on
And
something
Dameon
else,
Pierce.
I think.
No, I answered it. We think we all answered it. I thought he was going to circle back. He or she was going to circle back and tell us what his or her running back room looked like.
Oh, we never got
And
those.
so I don't know if they did that. So just real quick.
We never got those.
So just real quick, because I thought I wrote a note here about that just to kind of circle back on that. If your running backs are okay, value wise, if you give Dillon and Waddle for Chase, I would do that in a heartbeat. If you can get Chase on your roster, he is a significant upgrade from Waddle.
Yep.
I'd still like to know what the running backs look like because you can't move Dillon if you need him.
Yep.
Can't replace him on waivers.
Okay, no one asked any more questions. We're going to take 2 really quick ones. Is
Okay.
Darrell Henderson a must start? Depends on what else you got, what your options are. Not necessarily.
He's not a must start. No.
No.
I put him. Yeah, I put him as a must start.
Oh, yes. So that's a yes.
With that type of,
He's assuming you have no other running backs.
I'm not assuming that. I'm not assuming that. He's on my must start list. Elite utilization for a running back.
Atlanta.
Darrell Henderson.
Love
This
that.
is the game that I don't want to say this is a must win because it's not necessarily a must win, but they got to get right this week. I love Darrell Henderson in the spot. So maybe he's a must start in your flex.
There you go.
I can get on board with that.
If Kittle doesn't play, should I pick up Higbee or Tanyan? Well, you're gonna have to pick up somebody. Let's see. I would go with.
You can't go with Everett. He already played.
Yeah.
That's what you wanted to say.
I did, but I already knew that too. Jesus, those are your choices, huh?
Are they the only choices?
I'm gonna go with Tanyan.
Yeah, give me Tunyon over Higbee. I don't feel good about it. In fact, I'm going to take a shower now.
I'm squirming. I don't know what to do with that.
I'm going to go take a shower now.
Yeah. That's
They're-
gonna be-
They're basically the same guy. I would probably grab Higbee just because of the target share we saw in week 1, 11 targets. That's a nice target share for a tight end. Not that he's going to see that again, but if that's his potential, then I would probably grab Higbee.
Yeah, I mean, you're flipping a coin at that point. Last question, I'll be the one that answers it. Is hot dog a sandwich? Yes. Don't at me. All right.
It
So-
is.
Only
I'll
with the
fight about
smoky.
it. It absolutely is.
Only with the smoky. Love
It's
it.
that Snooki sandwich.
That smoky sandwich. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us this week. Catch us more later in the week. I guess you'll see us again on Sunday morning for the live stream. Between now and then, Fantasy Football Network does have a few more shows on
Just
Friday
the
and
DFS
Saturday.
wins.
Oh yeah,
before-
DFS wins
before
Sunday
that,
morning.
actually. Sunday
So
morning.
there's- You'll see us a lot on Sunday. Come hang out and have some fun on Sunday. guys, go get signed up on the website. Go download the app. And until next time, we'll see you.